Next month, NASA is planning to launch the first test flight of its Artemis 1 mission. The purpose of that is, of course, to put people back on the moon and then use that as a stepping stone to send them all the way to Mars. It's a move that's making the prospect of living on another planet all the more real. It's another giant leap for mankind. Joining us with more is futurist Nick Badminton. Nick, good morning.
Good morning.
China, the U.S., and the European Space Agency all have different ideas about how to establish habitats in or around the moon. What kinds of concepts are on the table?
Yeah, so what's interesting is in the last couple of years, China ran an experiment for 370 days to see if people could survive in a closed environment. And one team lasted 200 or so days by generating their own oxygen and water and food and everything that they needed. So they're thinking about these closed capsules in these closed environments. So it's super exciting. The European Space Agency's trying to establish people on the moon by 2030 as well, and they're starting to think about 3D printed structures. So it's kind of an exciting time to start thinking about, how we can put people on these other planets.
Yeah, and we were just showing some video. That would be one of those 3D printed structures that would then, land as a pod on the moon, and then somebody would live there. China also in the process of conducting experiments where people would live in a sealed environment that they're calling Lunar Palace 1, which is supposed to reflect how people would live on a planet like the moon. So what's it like in there?
Yeah, it's small. There's a team of 4 to 6 people. So anyone that does go to the moon or eventually to Mars is going to be living very close quarters. Have to be very, very calm and very mentally stable. To basically live there. So these are places, like I said, they generate their own oxygen, grow their own food, and the water is obviously available from the sweat and the urine that they pass as humans.
That does not sound pleasant. I'll stay on Earth for now. Those lunar bases are meant to serve, as we said, as a stepping stone to future mission to Mars. So we get everybody living on the moon with the goal of them moving to Mars. How would we even go about building structures there?
Well, we can't just put, bags of concrete and building materials in a rocket and send it up. It's very, very expensive to do so. So there's been a lot of research around the world about taking the materials that you'd find on the moon or on Mars to print your own structures. Some university researchers at the University of Manchester have been playing with the idea of using our own blood and our own urine mixed with the materials that we find, the dust on the moon and the dust on Mars to build bricks. And it's actually proven to be showing a lot of promise to be able to build these structures. Obviously, it takes a long time to do so, but we might send teams for like 2 years to Mars, and after those 2 years, they can actually have something that's built from humanity's blood, sweat, and tears. Literally
from their blood, sweat, and tears. Okay, let's talk about Mars. There's no liquid water. There's not enough oxygen to breathe. And judging from the plans that are on the table, what could we expect? Could we call it living, really, if you're there on Mars?
These are going to be scientific missions. I mean, they've actually found ice on Mars, so that's very promising, and I certainly think that that's going to be explored in terms of a resource in these places. So, I mean, people like Elon Musk are talking about, we need these big structures and places to live, and there could be 1 million people there eventually. I think we're a very, very long way. We're talking hundreds of years away from that kind of reality. But, we're going to establish scientific colonies there. It's going to be very small. Hopefully, it's going to be collaborative across nations in the world. But these are really exciting times for interplanetary travel and exploration, but it's going to be a really tough road.
What's fascinating to me about all of this, Nick, is this used to be stuff of sci-fi comic books and movie imaginations. And now this is happening in the scientific community where they're looking at structures and ways to get there. Always amazing to talk to you. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, thank you.